Wanda Scott has once again set social media on fire with her latest comments. And this time, she's touching on everything from Arionne Curry and Martell Holt's situation to Kimmi Scott, snakes, and her views on what it means to be a strong mother. Wanda never holds back, and her live stream gave everyone a whole lot to talk about. She didn't just speak on rumors or gossip. She shared her unfiltered opinion on how things should go when it comes to relationships, loyalty, and family. It was classic Wanda, loud, raw, and full of energy, but also revealing a lot about how she views the women around her and their choices. She started off responding to a picture she received of Marcel Scott allegedly talking to another woman. People online were quick to assume the worst, but Wanda tried to calm things down. She said that the picture meant nothing serious, that Marcel was just having a simple conversation, and that folks were blowing it out of proportion. In her words, she said Marcel wasn't cheating, at least not that she knew of, and that people needed to stop making something out of nothing. Wanda explained that if her husband saw how many men came up to her to talk or say hello, he'd be jealous for no reason too. She made it clear that being friendly doesn't mean anything inappropriate is happening. Wanda laughed about the photo and seemed frustrated at how people online were always ready to believe the worst. She said that people had too much time on their hands and that they were always trying to find a reason to attack Marcel. She also claimed that people were delusional, saying that no matter what Marcel does, right or wrong, people would find a way to make it look bad. According to Wanda, fans are biased, especially when it comes to the dynamics between Marcel, Tisha, and the rest of the LAMH Huntsville cast. But even though Wanda was defending Marcel this time, her words came across as a little ironic. Because if we go all the way back to season 1, Wanda herself was one of the main people who helped create the idea that Marcel might have been unfaithful. She was always questioning him, side-eyeing him, and making comments that hinted at mistrust. Fans still remember the moments when she confronted Marcel, asking questions that made it seem like she suspected something wasn't right. So now, to see her defending him and calling people delusional, it's an interesting shift. She also went off on people who were sending her that photo, calling them ignorant, and saying they didn't have anything better to do. Wanda can be blunt and emotional, and this live was no different. She said that she doesn't play when it comes to her daughter Letitia, and that Marcel knows better than to cross any lines. She even said that if Marcel ever tried something like that, she'd do what her daughter wouldn't, and that she would handle him herself. It was her way of saying that she's protective and won't tolerate anyone hurting her children. And then, Wanda turned her attention to Arionne Curry and Martell Holt. She said that if Arionne were her daughter, Martell wouldn't even be alive to tell the story of what he did. She made it very clear that she could never sit back and let a man embarrass her child the way Martell did Arionne. It was one of those moments that made people pause, because Wanda, who has always been known to defend Tisha and throw shade at Melody, suddenly sounded like she had some empathy for Arionne. She said God knew what he was doing when he didn't make Arionne her daughter, because she would not have let Martell get away with that behavior. That statement caused a stir online because of how Wanda seemed to pick and choose when she shows compassion. On one hand, she's been known to criticize women like Melody or Kimmi, but here she was saying she'd have stood up for Arionne, the same woman who played a role in breaking up Martell and Melody's marriage. It made people wonder what her real intentions were. Was she just speaking out of emotion? Or was she really trying to make a point about mothers needing to be more involved in their daughters' lives? After that, Wanda shifted gears and started giving what she called advice to women and mothers. She said that mothers need to be involved in their daughters' relationships to make sure no man can take advantage of them. She shared her own story of how she used to handle situations when she suspected her man was being unfaithful. Instead of checking his phone or arguing right away, she said she would quietly write everything down. The time he left, the time he came back, what he said he was doing, and then question him days later when he least expected it. She laughed as she described it, but it was clear she believed that this was her version of being smart and in control. She said that Tisha is lucky to have a mother like her because she'll never lead her in the wrong direction. According to Wanda, she never told Tisha to leave Marcel, but she always gives her the truth when asked. She believes that no one can give you real advice like your mother, and that's why she doesn't mind being all up in her daughter's business. She also used this as an opportunity to shade Arionne again, by wondering out loud where Arionne's mother is. She said that if Arionne had a real mother figure in her life, she wouldn't be going through what she's going through with Martell. That comment raised eyebrows because Wanda basically implied that women without strong mothers are the reason men cheat or treat them badly. She said anybody with a real mother wouldn't let a man cheat on them on national TV. That's a bold statement, and one that many people would disagree with. Because at the end of the day, no mother, no matter how strong, can control another adult's choices. But that's how Wanda thinks. In her world, being a tough, vocal mother is the solution to everything. As she kept talking, she made it clear that she doesn't believe Marsaw ever cheated on Tisha. She said people are always making things up, but she never once told anyone that Marsaw did drugs or cheated. Wanda said that if Marsaw ever did step out on her daughter, her sons and Tisha herself would be the first to know. It's interesting, because it shows that no matter what rumors swirl around, Wanda's loyalty lies firmly with her family. She may stir up drama at times, but when it comes down to it, she will always protect her own. But then came the part that really got people's attention. Wanda started talking about Kimmi Scott. She was responding to someone in her live chat who asked her opinion about Kimmi, and her response turned a lot of heads. Wanda said that Kimmi had to learn who the snake was, and that once she found out, she came to the right side. She didn't directly name names, but based on how she said it, many viewers believed Wanda was implying that Melody Shari was the snake in the situation. Wanda used her famous metaphor about snakes, saying that she can spot one from a mile away. She said that if someone moves like a snake, she's going to put her foot on their head. According to her, there are different types of snakes: dead snakes, sick snakes, and moving snakes. She said that the ones you really have to watch out for are the ones moving fast, zigzagging, and showing their tongues. That's how she described people who act fake or pretend to be your friend, but really aren't. It was classic Wanda. Dramatic, colorful, and filled with her own brand of logic. She made it sound like Kimmi had been fooled by someone, possibly Melody, but eventually saw the truth and switched sides. That comment sparked debate, because fans remembered the past tension between Kimmi, Tisha, and Melody. There was a time when Kimmi seemed to be close with Melody, but over the years that relationship faded, and it's true that after the Season 3 reunion, things shifted. When Carlos King asked Kimmi if he'd still be friends with Tisha if they weren't related by marriage, Kimmi said, probably not, because it takes a lot of energy to be friends with her. That moment made headlines and caused friction between families. After that reunion, things definitely seemed to change. Kimmi appeared more loyal to the Scott family and less connected to Melody. Fans believe that Kimmi might have faced pressure from Maurice and the family to pick a side, and she chose to stay aligned with her husband and in-laws. So when Wanda said that Kimmi learned who the snake was, it seemed like she was trying to rewrite that history, making it look like Kimmi realized Melody wasn't a real friend, rather than admitting that family pressure might have influenced her decision. Wanda said she gets rid of all snakes, no matter who they are. She said if she calls someone a snake, they better watch out, because she'll never take her eyes off them. That comment reflected how deep her distrust runs. She sees everything in terms of loyalty. Either you're with her family, or you're against them. And if you're against them, you're automatically a snake in her eyes. But what's interesting is that Wanda herself has often been called a snake by viewers and even by some of the cast members. Her tendency to jump in the middle of conflicts, spread gossip, and add fuel to the fire has made her one of the most controversial figures in Love and Marriage Huntsville. Yet she doesn't see herself that way. In her mind, she's just a protective mother who says what everyone else is afraid to say. What really stood out in her live was how she sees her role in her daughter's marriage. Wanda genuinely believes that Tisha's marriage is partly strong because of her involvement. She said that Marcel knows better than to cheat, because he knows he'd have to deal with her and with Tisha's brothers. To her, being a loud, no-nonsense mother is like a form of insurance against infidelity. But that kind of mindset raises questions about boundaries. How much should a parent really be involved in their child's marriage? And does constant interference actually help, or does it just make things worse? Many fans would argue that Wanda's presence in Tisha and Marsao's relationship has caused more harm than good. From questioning Marsao on camera to starting arguments with other cast members, her involvement has often created tension instead of peace. But Wanda sees herself as a warrior mother, someone who's doing what's necessary to protect her family from snakes, liars, and homewreckers. Her comments about Kimmi and the snake situation also highlighted how deep the divisions still run in the cast. Even after so many seasons, the relationships between the women are still fragile. There's a lot of history, a lot of betrayal, and a lot of pride. Wanda's words just stirred that pot again. If she truly was talking about Melody being the snake, it adds another layer to the ongoing feud between their families. And if she was talking about someone else entirely, like Kimmi or another cast member, then it still shows that she hasn't let go of her habit of labeling people she doesn't trust. As for Kimmi, many fans feel sympathy for her because she's been caught in the middle for years. She's tried to keep peace, but it's almost impossible when you're surrounded by strong personalities like Wanda, Tisha, and Melody. Each of them has their own version of events, and Kimmi often ends up being the one expected to pick a side. Wanda's live just made it clear that in her eyes, Kimmi finally picked the right one. Then there's Wanda's statement about mothers being responsible for preventing men from cheating. That's a mindset that has a lot of people shaking their heads. She said that if women had real mothers like her, men wouldn't cheat on them, especially not on television. But that's simply not how relationships work. No mother can stop a grown man from cheating. Loyalty and faithfulness are personal choices, not things that can be forced or taught by a parent. Still, her words say a lot about how she was raised and how she raised Tisha. Wanda believes in strong family ties and firm control. She sees herself as the backbone of her family and doesn't hesitate to call out anyone who threatens it. To her, being loud, confrontational, and protective isn't a flaw, it's a strength. That's why she continues to defend her daughter, even when fans think she should step back. Wanda's live also gave insight into how she sees the dynamics between all the women on the show. She made it sound like the friendships are built on loyalty tests. If you're loyal to Tisha, then you're safe. If you show kindness to someone she doesn't trust, like Melody, then you become suspect. That kind of mindset explains a lot about how the drama on Love and Marriage, Huntsville, continues to grow. It's not just about the men and their actions, it's also about how the women navigate friendships, betrayal, and family loyalty. By the end of her live, Wanda had covered so much ground, defending Marsao, shading Arionne's upbringing, warning about snakes, and boasting about her role as a protective mother. It was messy, emotional, and dramatic, exactly what people expect from her. But beneath all that noise, there was also a glimpse of how she really thinks. She truly believes that mothers like her are necessary, that her involvement makes a difference, and that being outspoken is a sign of strength, not interference. Her comments about Kimmi learning who the snake was will definitely have fans speculating for weeks. Because on Love and Marriage Huntsville, words like that always have hidden meanings. Whether she was referring to Melody, someone else, or even the dynamics within her own circle, the message was clear. Wanda is still very much in the middle of everything. She's watching everyone, judging every move, and making sure her daughter's name stays protected. At the end of the day, Wanda Scott's live showed why she remains one of the most talked about figures on the show. She's bold, unpredictable, and always ready to speak her mind, even when her words create chaos. Her relationship with Tisha, her views on loyalty, and her ongoing tension with other cast members all continue to shape the drama that fans love to discuss. Whether you agree with her or not, there's no denying that Wanda will always make her presence known. And as for Kimmi, it's clear she's trying to keep the peace while navigating the pressures that come with being married into the Scott family. If Wanda's version of events is to be believed, then Kimmi learned who the snake was. But if you look deeper, it might just be another example of Wanda's way of rewriting the story to favor her family. Because in Wanda's world, her family is always right, and anyone who questions that becomes the enemy, no matter what. Wanda's words remind us of just how layered the relationships on Love and Marriage Huntsville really are. Between loyalty, pride, and family interference, the line between love and conflict is razor thin. And with Wanda around, that line will probably stay blurred and dramatic for a long time to come.